What would you say to some of the Forex traders who are on the fence about getting into futures right now? What do you think is the way to properly balance trading with multiple firms?
In Hawaii, 3 beers deep, I'm blowing challenges. Not challenges, blowing PA
If
accounts.
anybody says anything negative about this video, you're allowed to blast Zach for that, because I think that's the only thing that we can agree that's just stupid. Like, you're so much better than that. Was it all from Top Step and then you burned the Top Step and then went to My Funded Futures? Like, what did the process look like? I want to give as much detail as we can, because I'm going to guess 90% of the listeners have not gotten 50K in payouts. Should you do 50Ks in copy trades? Should you just go big at 150s? So talk about position size and account size for a second, if you can.
I go for 3 to 4R per trade. As you know, my win rate, it sits around, it hovers between 25 and 35%.
What's up, boys? Today we are talking to Zach Arbucci. Zach is a student now turned into coach here at ASFX. He's up over $54,000 in payouts from futures prop firms this year. We talk about how he's getting paid out, what that actually looks like, his position sizing, his assets, his time of day. We go over all that. We talk about his stats. We talk about his favorite prop firms. We cover everything. And I tried to keep it as short and condensed as possible. Make sure you stay through till the end. I have a very special ask of you. If you're a regular listener, stay through till the end and help me out. I really appreciate it. But make sure you connect with Zach on Twitter down below. I'll put all the links in the description. Thank you to Zach. Thank you to you guys. Thank you to the sponsors. Now enjoy my episode with Mr. Zach Arbucci. The sponsor of today's episode is Top One Trader. If you've been a listener, you know Top One has been a sponsor for a while, and that's because they continue to deliver. And there's two factors that I think separate them from all the other CFD prop firms out there right now. Now, they are a top 30 firm, and if you look at all of the other top 30 firms, this is not happening anywhere else. Number one, payouts in an hour or less, as fast as 8 minutes. It's crazy. It's like almost unbelievable. And also customer service that they actually answer your question when you hit the live chat in as quick as 60 seconds. Some of these firms, we won't mention names, take 2 weeks to get back to you. So when it comes to an industry that is very competitive, where you can get funded with so many different firms, you've got to find those standout features. All the challenges are basically the same price. All of the rules are basically the same. But where Top One separates themselves, like I said, is in payout speed and reliability and customer service. So if you're looking to get funded with CFDs, check out Top One Trader. Use the link down below or flying in above the screen. That'll save you some money. The code is ASFX. That's going to save you 30%. We appreciate them for being a sponsor. Now let's get back to the show. Traders, welcome back to the podcast. I've got a very special guest in the building today. It's my brother from another mother. Well, my brother from New York, Mr. Zach Arbucci. Zach, what's up, brother? It's good to have you.
And yeah, it's good to be here.
This is exciting. So a lot of the listeners, bro, they know you from the content that we've done. Zach's actually been on the podcast before. We did that live episode in New York with Andrew and Evan. Zach is also streaming with us on ASFX TV during Power Hour twice a week now. He's also on Top Step TV pretty often, like I am. So everyone's starting to get to see your face a little more, Zach, which is why I thought now would be a great time to do the solo episode, to try to chop it up with you and really see the stats, talk about what you think you're doing well, what you're working on doing better, and just to kind of get your journey out there to people. So that's kind of where I want to start, bro. Let's go all the way back to where you first got into trading briefly before we talk about the payouts. Your net positive $54,000 this year on payouts. So we want to get into that. I want, people to hear the story about that. But let's go to where you started. How did you get into trading? How'd you find me?
For sure, man. Yeah, so I've been trading a little over 3 years now. I remember the month. I started in March of 2021. So right around that time, bull market was on. Everyone was trying to day trade, talking about it. And I would, just like anyone else, I got interested in it. Started with cryptocurrency, actually, because I remember, before I even really understood what day trading was, I just bought some Bitcoin and my money doubled. And I thought I was a genius. And that led me down the road to finding offshore crypto exchanges that offer 100x leverage, and that was fun. It was a crazy experience, man. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. But fast forward a little bit, started, that first year, I really didn't engage with anyone on social media in the trading space. I didn't know where to look. I didn't have Twitter. I wasn't I would just watch random strategy videos about cryptocurrency. It's really the most that I had gotten to at that point. Fast forward, everyone's talking about prop firms this is about a year later, 2021, these Forex prop firms. So, that just made sense to me. It's like, I'm putting $1,000 into these personal accounts and blowing it. This is crazy. Prop firms make a lot of sense. Like, let me buy some accounts. And also, I got to give it to prop firms because they really taught me, at least the beginning, of understanding risk management. Like, for that first year, I did not look at anything in terms of percentages or R. Like, I really had no idea what I was doing for a year. So prop firms really helped kind of get that first path to what I need to do. And so that was with FX. I started finding a little bit of success. That's when I found you. This is maybe almost 2 years ago now, which is crazy. Joined the Black Shirt Club. And I always talk about this. It was a major inflection point in my trading. Not even just so much for like, I learned a secret strategy that's going to make me millions of dollars. It's like, I had a community of people that spoke about trading, that spoke my language. And I needed that. Like, that was something I was missing. And yeah, I started getting some payouts like right after I got out of the Black Shirt Club. And then my Forex funds drops. Sorry if I'm ranting. I'm just trying to give up.
No, you're good. I'm following you 100%.
Okay. So my Forex funds drops. I lost all my funding because I was only working with them. And at this point, I was like getting some payouts, but nothing crazy, like a $400 payout here, 300 here, like nothing crazy.
Sure.
That made me decide I want to try out futures because I had already been focusing more on US indices and I was just trading the CFD version. And something about futures just always felt more professional for me personally. I was just gravitated towards it. So I got started with futures firms, and it was a pretty tough learning curve for those first few months. Like 3 months in, I did not get a single payout right away. I was learning how to deal with the trailing drawdown, just how to manage risk a bit differently than how you would with CFD prop firms. But I'm so glad I switched over because that was really, once I started getting some payouts in futures firms, it just like catapulted my technical ability, my ability to manage risk, my psychology. And yeah, that's where I got to at this point. So I'm really grateful for futures. I think it's the best market out there. But yeah,
100%.
that's really a quick overview.
Questions on the journey real fast. Because I know you just had that Ethereum trade a couple of weeks ago. So what are you still doing with crypto? Do you just get sucked back into it occasionally? Like, what's your opinion on trading crypto now?
Man, I hadn't even like looked at a crypto chart for years. I had
Okay.
PTSD. Yeah.
Well, because the PTSD because you did well and then you were trying to buy it as it started to crash and it went to shit. Is that basically what you're saying?
That's what I was trying to learn how to day trade on. And I was using exchanges. I'd put $1,000 in and then just like put that dial up to 50x leverage and like lose my money in 5 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Like, it was just so rough.
Bro, I did the same thing. 100x, 1000x leverage when I first started trading with Traders Way was the broker back then, bro. You remember Traders Way? Yeah, dude.
No, I didn't even go mess with it.
Traders Way, Hugo's Way, all them brokers that would give you 1 to 1,000, 1 to 3,000. It was crazy. And I really like what you said about the community aspect of it, because I think if people watch you trade on ASFX TV, they'll see you don't trade similar to me. You trade your own variation of ICT. Is it true you said you've never actually seen an ICT video?
I mean, I've watched a few minutes here and there, but like I can't get through a single video of that dude. All right, no disrespect. I can't watch his videos, man.
So how did you pick up the strategy? Like, what did the strategy become? A mix of what we were doing mixed with what you saw in those YouTube videos? What is your strategy, if you could describe it to people?
Sure. So, I mean, it's definitely foundationally ICT concepts. I got started with it initially looking at SMC, which is just kind of a generic version of ICT, but it's the same idea. So, I use it's really just price action. Like, ICT is not as crazy as everyone makes it out to be. It is a price action. It's a price action strategy. And it's not even a strategy. This is, I think, where people get confused about it, is that ICT is not a singular strategy where it's like you enter here, you do this, you take profit there. It is like, I kind of akin it to a language. It's a language of how to view price action, whether, those are the correct terminologies or not. It is a language, just like Spanish is a language, English is a language. You have different names for the same things, but it's an overview of a language, how to interpret price action, and then you can create models within that language, which I think on one hand, a lot of people don't like because they want like a cut and paste type of thing, and then they think it's a scam, when in reality, it's like you have to put your own twist on this, and you have to find a model that works for you. And that's why I loved it so much, because I was never able, like, I'm not a systematic guy. I was never able to work in that way. I'm discretionary, but I have foundational concepts that I base my trading off of.
I want to say thank you to those of you who have seen the free futures course we put out just a few weeks ago. It has blown up way more than I thought it would, and I'm very appreciative of that. But if you're someone who's listening to the podcast, maybe you're a first-time listener, and you haven't seen our free futures course, it's 3 hours. Go download it. You will not be sorry. Not only are you going to learn some things about the futures markets that you probably don't know, but you're actually going to get the strategy with the VWAP that I use every single day. This is the same strategy I teach to our mentorship students. This is the same strategy that I show when I'm streaming on ASFX TV. There's no fluff. Read the reviews. That's what everybody says. Austin has no fluff, no BS. It's straight to the point where you probably have to watch it 2 or 3 times, because I talk fast and I give you a lot of value. So if you haven't seen the course, link is in the description, or go to www.wap.com/ASFX. I appreciate all of you for checking it out. Now let's get back to the video. For sure. And I think what else we could say to your strategy, because I've seen you trade now for a while, very much like you excel when we have ranges, when we have imbalances that can, attempt to be filled, things like that. When you said ICT isn't a strategy, it's in my head, I'm like, is it a lifestyle? But I'm like, I don't want to say that. That's fucking gay. But yeah, I get exactly what you're saying about it's like a way of reading the chart. So you've now kind of found your own niche, which is what we coach people in the Black Shirt Club about, is like trying to find their way. Even like as the markets have been selling off at the time of us filming, we're filming on August 2nd, everybody. Markets are down 2 days, really, really bad. Zach will go, I just have a hard time selling it. So it won't be where he jumps in long and just burns himself. He identifies this isn't my market condition, so he stays out of it. That's one of the many reasons why I've had him on stream, because he shares those good habits. Those are really the habits that lead to long-term payouts, which this whole podcast, really people are going to come here, not just to hear your story, Zach, but just to hear about the success you've had with the prop firms. So before we get into the payouts and the favorite firms, one more question about Forex to futures. What would you say to some of the Forex traders who are on the fence about getting into futures right now?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would first want to know why. I think I know why. It's probably because of the trailing drawdown. That's really the only reason that people don't want to trade futures prop firms. And I do understand to a certain degree. I mean, the trailing drawdown is different. If you're used to a static drawdown, 10%, you have to learn how to manage risk a little bit differently in the beginning. Number one, what I would say is futures firms are one-step challenges. FX firms are 2-step. Once you get that funded account in futures, after you pass your phase 1, just look at building your buffer as your phase 2. It's the same thing. Like they're actually equal. It's just you have to consider that phase 2 is building my buffer back up. That's always what I say. Also, don't look at them in terms of percentages. Just look at the dollar amount and know that you want to make, 2 times your buffer before you start making withdrawals. And then once you do that, you have a buffer, just like a static drawdown, in the same exact way that you would in an FX firm. And I would say, pay attention to the differences in spread and slippage between futures and FX. This is one of the biggest things for me. I had no idea how much profit I was leaving on the table due to spread. Like you think it's not a big deal, but if you're a day trader, it is a big deal. That could actually be the difference in being net profitable and not for a lot of people. If your margins are like 55%, if you have a 55% win rate 1-to-1, you might not be able to be profitable in FX because of that spread and slippage. It actually makes up a huge difference over the span of 1,000 trades.
100%. And I would just add to that. Great point. I love that. I would add that the way you trade, if everybody has not seen the previous podcast we did, we pulled up some of Zach's stats in TradeZella. All the Black Shirt Club members like Zach, we track their trades in some fashion. A lot of them are using TradeZella. And Zach has a lower win rate because he tries his position. If he doesn't like it, he'll cut it quickly. Tries it, cuts it quickly. And then he's really good at letting his winners run. If that's you, you're going to get chopped up by that spread and that extra cost for sure in the Forex market, where in futures, we have basically instant execution to the point where there is no spread and you can be in profit as soon as you take the position. So I totally agree with you. I think that's a great point for the people that are on the fence. And I'm in the same boat as you, bro. When I switched over to futures, I was funded with my Forex funds like you were. All of us were. They were the ones we were all taking payouts from. And then when they pulled the rug or they pulled the plug, whatever you want to call it, it kind of forced us into futures, which I think now we look back on it and say, thank God, in a way, it worked out for us, you know? Um, let's talk about futures firms. I know the big three everybody talks about: Top Step, Apex, My Funded Futures. You've taken challenges with all three. So if you have to pick, and we're not going to badmouth anybody, but if you had to pick, who's your favorite and who's your least favorite and why?
I gotta go. Top Step is my favorite. I mean,
Okay.
they're just the most reliable. They have a great community of people. I love Top Step TV. I love what they're doing there. I love Top Step X. The platform I think is really good. Um, they're just the best firm. Like I've never even considered that I won't get my payout from Top Step, and I always have gotten paid out within 24 hours. Like it's just incredible service in that regard. I know that they've been having some customer support issues at the moment, but other than that, they are the best firm. You know you're going to get your money, and it's great conditions and good pricing on the challenges. If I had to go number two, I'm going My Funded Futures. Again, they're similar to Top Step. Some of the downsides are you can't have 5 accounts. You can only have 3 funded accounts with them for now. But they do have, like, all of these firms are a little different, and some people are going to like other firms for different reasons. Like My Funded Futures has a really good starter program right now. I've been talking about it a lot. They've completely gotten rid of activation fees, and they have made the price a little higher on your first purchase. So just for an example, a 50K account, $80 all in. So you also get more drawdown than with firms like Top Step. You'll get $2,500 a drawdown,
Mm.
$3,000 profit target, $80 all in. That's
So
it.
$80 all in versus 50 and then a 150 activation fee with Top
Yeah,
Step. And you get another $500 of drawdown. Same profit target.
exactly.
That
Yeah.
is
And
really appealing.
it is appealing, especially if you're newer. Now, one of the downsides, it's not all good. They do have payout caps. So
Oh,
Top
really?
Step payout caps. My Funded Futures with the 50K account, you can withdraw $1,200 every 5 winning days. Now,
Wow. Okay, that's an interesting little
yeah,
nuance.
so it's not perfect, but remember they're really trying to get in line with Top Step in the sense that they want to have live funded traders. So I've been talking to a lot of people who have gotten pretty far in those starter accounts, and they're going to transfer you to live relatively quickly. Like they're not going to have you build up 20 grand in a 50K account. Like you're going to get put into a live account, and then you're not going to have withdrawal restrictions. So
Yep.
I think it's a great deal, especially if you're starting off, because I know that it's a little bit more of an upfront cost, but I'm telling you, when you're not having those activation fees, you're going to save money. You are
Does
going to
My
save.
Funded Futures do trade copy?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They have Tradeovate. You can copy with Tradeovate, Ninja Trader, all of the
Cool.
main futures platforms.
That is a good deal. You know, that's the good thing about all these firms popping up. And you know more, bro, there's probably going to be a firm that pops up between filming this episode and when I post it. Like the competition is getting greater, which makes us as the user get better quality from them, right? The cream rises to the whatever the cream rises to the crop or whatever the saying is. So
The
the
top,
best
yeah.
is going to, yeah, the best is going to always stand out and then they'll attract all the business. Now, of course, we didn't talk about Apex. What's your opinion on Apex?
Apex is great. Listen, I'll be perfectly honest. I have not gotten a payout from Apex. So I've been
Okay.
paid out Top Step and My Funded Futures. Those are my two. Those are what I
Got
like
it.
to work with. But the scalability of Apex is unmatched. You can
Yeah.
trade 20 accounts, 20, 50K accounts. You can get that thing. If you copy trade those and make $3,000 of profit, you can withdraw a 40K payout with the 2K per account. I mean,
Shout out
it's
to
amazing.
Mark.
Shout out Mark. He did it. He got a 40K payout off of 50K accounts. I mean, it's incredible. The scalability is unmatched. That's undeniable. Now, I will say, and I'm not here to badmouth them, but this is just objective. Their customer support is awful.
Oh, yeah, dude. And I
It's
heard they
bad.
shut their Discord down now, where you can't even send messages in their Discord. They can only send messages out. So I think that's probably one of the struggles that comes with growing a business big and fast, right? Like something will slip. I really don't understand how Top Step has such a slow customer support thing. And MP did tweet yesterday that he is working on fixing that. So they're trying, they know it's slow. They know it's their weak point. But Apex, I totally agree with you. I think people see it as like the money printer, the scalability. People see Top Step as a place they can try to build a little bit longer term with. So I think most people would agree with the perspective you have. Why do you think you haven't gotten a payout from Apex? What's been the hang up with Apex? Is it the trailing drawdown, or is it just you haven't focused on it enough?
A little bit of both. So for a while, I was just totally opposed to Apex because of that live trailing drawdown. I mean,
Yeah.
I have only purchased two sets of evaluations with them. I failed one set of evaluations. I passed the other. I got them to PA accounts. Did pretty well. I got them up to like $2,000 in profit. And then, we talked about this. This was a few weeks back. I was on
This is in
vacation
Hawaii, right? Yep. Yep. Oh,
in
okay. Now it makes
Hawaii.
sense.
In Hawaii, 3 beers deep. I'm blowing challenges. Not challenges, blowing PA
If
accounts.
anybody says anything negative about this video, you're allowed to blast Zach for that, because I think that's the only thing that we can agree that's just stupid. Like, you're so much better than that. But you know what, dude? It's amazing and it's respectable that you would share it on the podcast, get it out to people, because it's like, you're human, bro. Like, you're human.
Yeah, and you gotta be honest about it. I mean, who cares? Like, it's just prop firm accounts. Like, I know I can get more, but I'm not justifying that. Don't do that. But yeah, I think, but the live trailing drawdown is tough in the beginning, especially if you're someone who trades the way I do, where I go for high risk reward. I had to change that style up with those
Right.
Apex accounts. I had to go for like 1.5R, 2R, lock it in, shut it down. And while that works for me, it's just not the way I feel most comfortable with. I
Yeah.
like to hold my runners and get 6R out of a trade. It's just the way I do it. So I'm going to give them another go, but right now I'm feeling comfortable just chilling with. I got funded accounts with Top Step and my funded futures, so it's more than enough for the time being.
What do you think is the way to properly balance trading with multiple firms? Because I'm going to guess most of the audience is thinking that right now. When we do these podcasts, I always try to think, what would the listener be thinking? Some of the listeners are like, all right, Zach, I'm going to take your advice on these two firms. I think that they're good too, or maybe they do all three. How would you recommend? Like, of course, we can't give individual advice because we don't know what everybody's time is, but like generally, how would you manage trading with different firms?
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna assume that the person trading with multiple firms is profitable already or near profitable, because in my opinion, if you're not, you should really just stick to one firm for the time being, stick to one or
Yep.
two accounts and just learn how to trade. But that aside, if you're going to be trading with multiple firms, the way I like to do it is I like to copy trade, but I'll copy trade my accounts with Top Step, and then I will copy trade my accounts with my funded futures. So I'll have two baskets of accounts that I could flip between. That allows me to have my risk spread out a little bit. If I have a red day on one, but I think there's still opportunity, I could just move over to the other accounts, have a green day on those accounts. It evens it out. And yeah, that's the way I like to do it. Some people do, because you can copy across multiple firms if you're using NinjaTrader, and you got to get the right software for that. You can do that. And I know people that do that, and the scalability is incredible. I mean, some of those people that are doing that are making really good money. I'm just more comfortable spreading out the risk a little bit. So that's what I
Yeah,
would say.
I agree with you. And I think that's a great segue into the conversation about payouts, because, like you've said multiple times, the accounts that you've gotten payouts from, you usually don't keep. You usually
Mhm.
get payouts eventually, because of the way that you trade, which is, you trade a lot, you trade aggressive. When you do that, you will lose accounts. So let's start there before we get into the numbers exactly of your payouts and how you would recommend people go about that and what it looked like for you. Talk to us about like the approach in general. Even if you want to touch on the point about, like you said it once, you can't take a 40K payout before you take a 4K payout. So what did the 54,000 in payouts, like, how did that look like for you? And how did you manage that between the different accounts? Like, was it all from Top Step and then you burned the Top Step and then went to My Funded Futures? Like, what did the process look like? I want to give as much detail as we can, because I'm going to guess 90% of the listeners have not gotten 50K in payouts, maybe 95%. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, sure. So yeah, so the way I totally agree with you on, you're not going to get a 40K payout before you get a 4K payout. That was huge for me. My first futures prop account that I got paid out from was $1,000. And I remember telling myself, just get a payout, get that one payout. Because I'm someone who really believes in like linear progression through momentum. It's what works best for me. So I like to give myself realistic goals that are within an arm's reach. And the reason for that is I know I can reach that. When I do, my confidence is built up. I'm excited that I reached my goal, and there's no reason I need to stop now. So even with what I've done, my original goal for this year was to make 50K in payouts. I thought I was ready for that. I've been able to reach that goal about halfway through. You would think the natural progression now is for me to say I'm going to make 100K this year, but it's not. I'm telling myself I'm going to make 80. If I can pull out another 30 grand from props before year's end, I'm satisfied with that. That's a great year. And if it happens sooner, then I just keep going. But at least I don't set this expectation that, if my expectation was 100K at the start of the year, I would be like, okay, I'm halfway there. But I'm not going to feel satisfied. I'm going to be like, all right, well, now I have 6 months left. It's too much. I believe in just small steps, gradual. Before you know it, you're at your target,
I agree. I love that. Okay. So now when you're trading these two buckets of XFAs, and for everybody listening, what he's really saying is curtail your expectations, especially if you're in your, I think your results are extraordinary because like you're still relatively new to trading, bro. Like you haven't been here for 5 years, 10 years. Like I think I'm still almost relatively new. I'm almost at a decade and I sucked for the first 3 years. So it's like, I think your results are very different. So my next question is the managing of the accounts. Are we trading? Like where are most of your payouts coming from? From Top Step or from My Funded Futures? And then are you trading those funded accounts first every day? Like what's the approach to that growth?
Yeah, that's a good question. So they're about mixed. They're about mixed. And Top Step, I got most of my payouts at the start of the year was actually mostly from Top Step. I wasn't messing with My Funded Futures as much at that point. And I usually trade my funded accounts first. But the way it started this year was I just had some really strong months in the beginning. Like in the first few months, I was having 10K back-to-back months. And that really motivated me to be able to make like that next 20, 25K because I had already built such a strong like starting off point in the first 2 or 3 months of the year. The way I manage them, I just like to go the way I'll manage them is 2x my buffer. So if I have a 150K account, $4,500 a drawdown, I like to make at least 9 grand before I even consider a payout. And for the first half of the year, I was taking every dollar that I could out of that. So if I got a 150K account to 9 grand, 10 grand, I'm taking out half no matter what, leaving myself that buffer. And the reason being I needed to put money on the table. I needed to make sure I have money coming in from this. Now I'm a bit of a different place where I'm trying to manage my accounts differently because I'm not, desperate for that next payout. I could be more patient because you're right. What I was doing is making 2x my buffer, taking a payout, maybe getting one more payout out of that account, but you can only trade with a 4 grand drawdown for so long. Like you're going to hit a losing streak, especially if you're trading minis. Like I wasn't trading micros at the time. It's going to happen. And for me, it just, all that mattered to me was how much am I putting in versus how much am I taking out? And I still believe in that, but I also want to challenge myself now to try and hold on to accounts a little bit longer because I'm interested in starting a personal account. I can't trade prop firms. I can't trade the prop firm way on a personal account.
Right. Great answer. The Black Shirt Club has seen unprecedented success in the last couple of months, and I can't tell you exactly why. I'm being honest. Is it the coaching? Me and our coaches are getting better. Is it the markets? Maybe the markets are easier to trade. Is it the funding challenges? Or maybe it's a community environment that we cultivate in the Black Shirt Club. Maybe it's a combination of all of those things. Whatever it is, the Black Shirt Club traders are crushing it. We've had multiple 5-figure payouts, multiple 6-figure payouts, and more importantly than that, multiple people passing their first funding challenge ever after spinning their wheels on their own for so long. So if that sounds like you and you want to be a part of the people that are getting paid out, what you need to do is get yourself around like-minded traders. You need to be coached and held accountable to a higher standard. That's what we do in the Black Shirt Club. So use the link down below, flying in over my head, book a free call with me, and let's see if you're a good fit. It is not for everybody, and I'm very clear about that because I only want to help people that I really feel like I can make a positive impact on. So book a call. I appreciate you for being a listener. Now let's get back to the show. With most of our listeners not having taken payouts, they might be thinking, what position size is this guy trading in order to make the 9K? So can you talk about the position size? You just mentioned you were minis, now you're micros. And can you talk about your favorite or recommended size account to trade and try to pass? Because that's a big conversation point too, is like, should you do 50Ks in copy trade? Should you just go big at 150s? So talk about position size and account size for a second, if you can.
Yeah, totally. I have a very systematic way that I manage my risk. So I'm a very discretional trader, but the way I manage risk is pretty systematic. It's a bit unconventional too. So what I do, if we're trading NASDAQ, for example, I risk, especially in the beginning. We'll talk about when I'm building a buffer on the accounts. Let's just say with a 150K account, $4,500 in drawdown, I want my R to be the exact same dollar amount every time. So I'll risk $250 per trade on every trade I take, no matter what. I go for 3 to 4R per trade. As you know, my win rate, it sits around, it hovers between 25 and 35%. As long as it doesn't dip below 25%, I'm still net profitable. But on better weeks, better months, it'll go up to 35. A lot of people think that that's terrible win rate, but my average risk reward is like 4 to 1. And it really doesn't bother me because I'm trading on the 1 minute time frame. Like, I don't look at those little paper cuts I take as a losing trade until my idea is completely invalidated. So as long as I profit from the idea in the end, it's a winning trade, in my head, the way it works. So
100%.
yeah, but I use very systematic risk because, especially in the beginning, you need to, I think you should not be trying to blow the account in 2 days. Give yourself some time.
Okay. Love that. And then position sizing,
And
micros, minis.
so, yeah. So on 150Ks, I'll trade 1 mini. I never go above 1 mini. This was
Wow.
the unconventional thing that I do a lot on NASDAQ. I'll use 50 tick stop losses, period. Like, even if the stop loss is not going to be below a certain structural point, doesn't matter to me. I want my risk in dollar amount to be the exact same. And if I don't get the right entry, I get stopped out. If the idea is still valid and I get another entry signal, I go again. And I do that, and I eventually get a 3, 4, 5, 6R trade. It pays for the small losers that I had along the way, plus some
Right.
for profit.
Makes sense. What time of
Yeah.
day, Zach? Talk about, because you were trading London session, you were doing some stuff with crude oil. Now you've really just mentioned NASDAQ a lot today. So give everybody an idea of like the time of day that you're finding the most success.
Yeah, so I had my time with crude oil. It's done now. I used to trade crude oil a lot because I would be up for the London session. This is when I was still working a lot more. So I would be up because I needed to be up for work and I would just want to trade. And crude oil actually moves pretty well in London, but recently I'm working much less. So I have just cut out London session. I don't trade crude oil. I'm trading ES and NASDAQ, mostly NASDAQ. Like 80% of the time it's on NQ in the New York session.
Great. And how does it feel, bro, to cut your hours, to be transitioning into this like remote trader work that I remember when we first met, that was your goal. And now it's taken 2 years, right, to really come to full fruition, but now you're in the driver's seat. So talk to everybody about how that feels, because I think we don't talk about that enough.
Yeah, man, it's amazing. Like, I still work a little bit. I work like 15 hours a week, and it just blows my mind that I can live in New York City and live my life just more on my terms. That's the reason why I started day trading. It's not for me to get a Lambo or make like crazy amounts of money. I mean, I want to continually grow. I want to
Of
make
course.
good money, but that's not the motivation. The motivation was always to just have full autonomy in my person, in my body, in myself. That's what it was about for me. And even though I'm not at the complete end goal yet, I've already taken back a lot of what I see as like my self-respect. Like I'm not begging a boss to give me more hours. Like I don't need to, I work when I want to work and it's all on me, which is that's the way my personality always has been. Like I'm just not good at working for someone in the exact hours they want. It's just, I can do it. I've always held jobs, but it just doesn't inspire me the way working for myself does.
100%. And now, as markets change, your confidence is up this year because markets have been aligned with you and you've been crushing it. Like you said, you had a couple of really great months this year. As markets change, have the payouts slowed down? Like where a lot of the 50K that you've taken in payouts, 54,000, has that happened more recently, or is it slower than it was at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, this is actually a great thing to talk about. So yeah, most of the money I've made, or I'd say like 60% of my income was done in the first 3 months. Like I had some really good starting months. The next couple of months, I've averaged like one payout per month, but it was not what I was making at the start of the year, which first off, the way markets usually are aligned kind of makes sense. The summer months, a lot of people don't do as well. Those first few months of the year, a lot of people have killer times in those first
Yep.
few months.
Yeah.
This is just the way trading works. You know, I always talk about this. Your income comes in sporadic waves. People who like can't figure out how to do this successfully, that's one of their biggest problems. They cannot accept that you're gonna have weeks or even months where you maybe don't make money, or maybe you don't make what you were hoping to make. It's really
Right.
important. And this was a completely new thing for me to learn with day trading, because you really need to learn how to manage your money when it's coming in, when it's hot. You need to make sure that you can manage that correctly for the months that are going to be a little slower.
Right. I think that's a great point. Even look at Mark with his payout, look at even myself with my payouts. Like it's not linear income, right? You mentioned the linear progression that you like to have, but it's not linear in the sense of, oh, we make 2K in payouts this month. We should do 2K or more next month. No, you're going to get a payout. You might go a few months without a payout and then a big payout after that. It's not linear, which is a different position. I mean, how many people are used to, hey, this is how much money I make every month. I've got to live off of this, pay my bills off of this. So it makes you very entrepreneurial, which is something that you're doing a really good job of embracing. You've got to step into that. But I think you could easily see too, bro. You're somebody that's used to a 9 to 5 job. Maybe you do really well. You come to trading, you maybe take a payout, and then month 2, month 3, month 4, you haven't taken a payout. Now you're digging into some savings. Now you're sweating it a little bit more. How does that end up for your trading? Probably worse. So you have to kind of understand this, I think, before you get into it, which is why it's a great point to talk about, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Um, Great point, Zach. Now, just before we leave the funding stuff and the payout stuff, if you could go back to when you first started with my funded Forex, whatever it was called, my Forex funds, whatever they were called, I can't even remember. Yeah, my Forex funds. What advice, other than, of course, switch to futures, what advice would you give to yourself or to the new guys that maybe haven't started a funding challenge yet? I would assume most of the people have tried. So could we just give some advice to the guys that maybe haven't passed their first combine, maybe they haven't touched a first challenge yet?
Submit to time.
Good
Submit
answer.
to time. That's what you need to know. I always told myself this when I was really struggling those first year, even in the second year, I was still struggling a lot. I told myself, submit to time. There's no way I'll fail at this if I just keep going. It's like
Yep.
I would joke around with my girlfriend, like, hey, just imagine where I'm going to be in 10 years. If I know I'll get there if I just don't stop. So submit to time. That's really it. You know, if you have expectations that you're going to figure this out in a year, and I'm not trying to dissuade anyone from starting to trade, but it's just the reality. Like
Just the truth.
you need to understand this is going to take a long time, just like anything else. You know, this is not easy money. It's not.
Now, how do you like teaching? Now with ASFX TV and you running the streams, how do you like that?
Dude, I'm loving it because it first off makes me I need to hold myself a little accountable. Like when I'm on stream, I can't just take the most ridiculous trades. I can't just get tilted all of a sudden. And just teaching other people or just regurgitating what you see in the market on a daily basis, it just reinforces everything. You know, it just reinforces when you're speaking it out loud what you're thinking. So
Yeah.
it's meant to be a better trader than me.
That's what I was getting at with it. It's like I would encourage all of our listeners to start a Twitter account or a Instagram account and share your trades, share your mistakes, share your wins. As you talk it out, you will grow. Also, like what I think is one of the key characteristics for you specifically, Zach, is you're very open-minded. I wouldn't say you're overly curious. Like it's never like you're like, oh, I see someone doing that, let me try it. But you're always willing to hear them out and say, like, okay, Austin, you're saying if one directional moves are happening, I should check out a low a day VWAP. Okay, I'll check it out. Like you're very willing to take in new information that could make you more money. I think that's a huge, huge quality that traders have to have. Don't you agree?
Yeah, totally agree. I think there's a really good balance that you should have where you always want to learn. You want to better yourself as a trader, especially in technicals, but also have conviction in how you see it. Like if you have something that works, like have conviction in that. Always be ready to learn, but also have confidence in yourself. And I think I
Yeah.
do a good kind of that. Like I trade the way I trade, but I'm always down to hear what other people are thinking. And I know it helps me. Just knowing more about the market will help you.
100%. When we do these episodes, I write down all my key timestamps. That's what you see me doing right now. I got a lot from this one already, bro. So I think what we'll do, because this has already been a good episode, let's put a pin in it. I want the people that listened to go to YouTube or reach out to us on ASFX TV. Tell me what questions you guys have for Zach. I'm sure we're going to do another episode. This is his, second episode, maybe third episode on the podcast. So we'll probably have to get you in at least one more time this year, Zach, and see if we hit the 80K or the 100K in payouts. But I want to hear from the listeners, from you guys that are watching and listening. Tell me what you want to hear more from Zach about. Do we want to talk more about his strategy? Maybe we need to do some screen share. Do we want to talk about anything, risk management, position sizing? We can go into any more specific detail. I wanted today to be like a high level overview of his success and the stuff that he's doing really well, and also what he's working on. And I think that we did a good job of that, Zach. Any closing comments for everybody, Zach? Any last piece of advice you want to leave for the internet people?
Oh man, just keep at it, guys. Just watch people like Austin who really know what they're doing and they actually care about being helpful. You
Thanks,
know,
bro.
you're watching this podcast, you're in the right place. That's it.
And
Just keep on with it.
come to ASFX TV so you can learn how to trade from Zach. Zach will teach you twice a week on Power Hour, 3 to 4 p.m. Wednesdays and Thursdays. We might have to do more streams. People love the Power Hour. I listen, everybody. I yell at Zach when he's trading Power Hour on a Friday. Like today, he better go out and do something with his girl or go out and skate, right? Zach, tell him. I tell you, get the fuck out of here in the group chat when he's trading on a Friday afternoon.
I need someone to sometimes.
I don't mind. I don't mind. So, all right, everybody, this has been great. Zach, thank you, brother. I appreciate you very much. Hopefully, listeners, you're subscribed. If you're not, make sure you do that already. Like I said, hit the comments on YouTube, and hopefully we'll see you guys on ASFX TV. Zach is live with me, Evan, James. We're always live on Power Hour, Wednesdays and Thursdays on ASFX TV from 3 to 4 p.m. So make sure you tune in for that. But Zach, thank you, brother. Listeners, thank you very much. We'll see you guys in the next episode.